Hey everybody, how you doing? This is True Powers Mine, and this is TPIM SR Live. Just came out of a very interesting, well, actually kind of frustrating conversation. It was on the chat board. They were talking about the Earth and how it was created, and I basically asked, well, where did the water come from? I mean, if we look how science proposed, the Earth was created. Hopefully I'm not beating a dead horse here. Where does the water come from? I mean, I get it, and I'm about ready to show you the video, so it'll be in their words, not mine. But where does the water come from? And I'm not trying to hear that they fall down as asteroids. That's so preposterous. When they burn up in the atmosphere. Anyhow, never mind. Let's continue.
By traveling back in time, we can piece together our planet's incredible story and discover why all of this and all of us are here.
I'm going to be stopping this.
The journey starts almost 5 billion years ago.
I'm not even going to have this guys talking. We're going to play this so you can see, and I'm going to break it down. I'm going to narrate for us. All right. Now, as you can tell, the Earth is starting to more or less coalesce, but no one's even given an explanation to why all these floating rocks all of a sudden are going to start uniting because of gravity. All right, hold on. This is just so utterly shameful. Major rain. Hold on, bird. This is so... I don't want to get no copyright, but... Come on. Come on. Where's the... hold on. How does this turn into the liquid core of what? Melted nickel? This is supposed to be the building block of Earth. And how come the rock just doesn't blast this rock all to pieces again? I mean, they're just coming together, right? They're flying in space millions of miles per hour, right? Oh, come on. Just come on. Hold on. Where am I at on this? All right. Let's go back. Now, all this shit just popped up out of nowhere. Remember?
The Earth hasn't formed yet.
Come on. And it's damn sure didn't form like this, dude. Stop the lies. But this is what they're teaching the kids in school.
But through time, gravity pulls the dust into tiny rocks.
Okay, now see how this rock comes flying in, hits these little bitty rocks. It's already about ready. Bird, they're doing more than making assumptions. They're trying to steal away your spirituality. They can get you to believe this garbage, then you're no longer a child of God, Bird. You're just a random manifestation of a bunch of neutrino acids and dust particles. Come on, let's see what they're talking about. Okay, now why all of a sudden does this rock stick in there like glue? What, gravity is a rock floating around? I mean, I'm sure they're going to probably have to say, well, you know, true, the rock hits it because the gravitational field on this mass is so correct. Come on, this is... I don't see why people... Come on.
To our surprise, something as complex as a planet is made from nothing more than dust and rocks.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Okay. and a proponent of this. I don't know how many billions of tax dollars have went into this nonsense now. And think about this, Bird. They wouldn't have been spending all the tax dollars on this garbage. You might have gotten free education, possibly a home grant, maybe some sort of personal living expenses grant. But because we're gonna continue down the path of science, which I'm cool with science. Unlike some of our brethren who are rather fed up with science, I'm cool with science.
Over to millions of years, gravity pulls these rocks together to form the Earth, one of at least 100 planets circling the sun.
And that's supposed to be the Earth. This supposed to be the Earth, Bird. Just look at it in all of its bullshit glory. Where's the water at? Where are the slabs of rock that becomes continents at? How do they all mold together? And where's this mysterious ball of molten nickel and iron at the center, possibly spinning around that generates the magnetic field? Come on. Hey, is this one of those videos from the space station? I mean, most of the pictures we have ever seen of Earth from so-called space comes to us from the 80s and 90s years, and they're always the same picture as well. So, or at least the same cloud formation within the pictures if you bother to take a look. And they will say it's a composite. It's always a composite, Bird. We can show you pictures of distant galaxies that you will never, ever be able to confirm were even there. If you jumped in a spaceship right now, you would be dust before you get a fraction of the way there. But we spend all this money for all this trivial stuff. Why? Oh, I get it. Because we can get people to believe this, they won't believe in God. Because ain't nobody leaving Earth.
But 4.5 billion years ago,
and they can
Earth looks more like hell than home. Up close, the temperature is over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
And they know this how? I mean, seriously, how do they scientifically peer review this? The actual temperatures and... Jesus.
There's no air, just carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and water vapor.
Now, where the hell is water vapor coming from? I didn't see no globules of water in their first animation there. You see how they have to just... Until someone breaks it down to people like this, you all realize how much faith you're just taking. Oh, I believe it. I believe for the teacher told me so. But it's not. 144000230 days. Welcome to the show. We're just hydrogen. Okay. And all these are just floating around in a cosmic soup, just waiting for gravity to magically come through and start coalescing it all together. I get it.
It's so hot and toxic that if we got any closer, we'd be incinerated and suffocated in seconds. This newborn planet is a boiling ball of liquid rock.
And this is a boiling pile of liquid crap. Come on, man. If any of you have ever been to Hawaii, actually had a chance to look into the volcano mouth there, you might notice a distinct absence of water. Fire and water don't occupy the same space and time. Now, if you have a 2 million or 2,000 degree planet ball at this point in time, there is no water vapor. Don't forget, unless that iron nickel core is kicking up, there is no protective magnetic sphere around the planet yet. So all that water vapor will just go off into outer space, right? Just like the helium has left the planet. You know, we can't find no more helium. That's why a lot of places are closing their doors, their businesses. They can't blow up the balloons to fly no more. Let's go back to this. Oh, but before I do, Bird, you're a child of the Most High. 144000230 days. You are the child of the Most High. And every other human being here in this broadcast tonight, you are all children of the Most High, whether you want to accept this fact or not.
An endless ocean of lava. A young planet called Theia is heading straight for Earth.
And where the hell did they get this information from? No, seriously, where the hell are they getting this information? I can tell you where. Some of the ancient mystery schools teach about Tiamat, a planet that smashes into us. But they allegedly got this information from extraterrestrials, well, let's just say hundreds of thousands of years ago. Man, come on, man. We need to stop with the stuff to try to draw us away from the Most High.
The size of Mars, it travels nearly 10 miles per second, 20 times faster than a bullet. The intruder's gravity distorts the Earth's surface.
Well, there goes all the water. If there was indeed any water there to begin with. Now, you know, they could have jazzed it up. Whoever put this thing together could have jazzed it up. And instead of a planet, that weak-ass CGI planet, it could have been a big-ass snow clone or a big-ass chunk of ice. And then they could have, hey, see, this is where the water came from. But they didn't have enough decency to even do that because most of the gullible lemons are flagellating mentally over this crap anyhow.
The blast wave races around the planet.
And we know this why.
It's as though both young planets turn to liquid.
And he says, both hemispheres of my mind has turned to liquid listening to this garbage. Listening to this shit that they'll be like, Bird, you don't have to have no faith to believe in our theories. It is self-evident upon immaculate, copious amount of data and information. Hallelujah. Oh, I meant, this is my scientific theory.
Trillions of tons of debris blast out into space.
Yeah. Talking about cosmic orgasm. You know, this is such a circle jerk. I swear, guys. I'm about ready to cut this video. It's almost as if it's triggering me. And I'm usually non-triggerable.
But over the course of 1,000 years, gravity turns the rubble into a ring of red-hot dust and rock that circles the Earth.
You mean the Earth had a ring of fire? Come on, man. I mean, all these so-called, come on. Like, we know all this how? Once again, how do we know this?
From this ring, a ball forms, over 2,000 miles wide.
Oh, there's the moon. Here comes the moon. You know what? They could have jazzed this up by saying, and this would have helped a lot of evolutionists, justify where did the first building blocks of Earth came from, on Earth. That some sort of alien, Anunnaki, away team came down. All right, my cursor is their little ship, and they stopped right about here, and they had to take a dump, and they took a dump, and basically, the remnants of that becomes all the life for Earth. You're nothing more than alien turds.
It's the birth of our moon.
Whoa, stop. How come the moon is spinning on its axis in this one? Huh? What? Yeah, why is the moon spinning on its axis? It doesn't spin on its axis in modern quarter history. But in the beginning, when the moon was forming in the ring of fire around the hot Earth, like a hula hoop, it's spinning on its axis. See, they're gotten so flippant with the bullshit now, they don't even have to try when they put some bullshit together now. Young kids are going to gobble this shit up like hungry hippo. They're pissing on our heads and telling us it's right. You know it. And they won't even give you the benefit the rain's coming from the Most High. No, it's coming from their jets. Sniveling fucking worms they are.
But it's much closer than the moon today.
Oh, yeah.
Just 14,000 miles away, instead of 250,000 miles.
Oh, wow. And we know this. How? I know you got that jazzy little, I'm going off into Nirvana music in the background. But once again, Bert, how do we know this? 140002300 days. How do we know? How do we know, brother, that this is the real? I mean, we gotta take some scientific, word on it. Oh, brother Nick's in the house. Welcome. I know you're gonna have a lot to say. You just missed it. They just showed us the moon being formed out of the ring of fire. But check this out. I'll play this back for your benefit, brother Nick, because you're a stargazer. Tell me, have you ever seen the moon rotate on its axis? Check this out. Hold on. Oh, this is after the planets all collided.
Then an entire day, just 14,000 miles away, instead of circles the Earth. From this ring, a ball forms, over 2,000 miles wide.
It's rotating. Stop. How, in their stupid little diagram of how they're claiming the Earth was made, the damn moon is rotating on its fucking axis. They even got the little shadow with the sun and all that. How is this? But yet the moon stopped rotating on its axis for all of human history. Of course it's fake, brother Nick, but this is what's going into your schools. This is what the atheists and Satanists are promoting to get you further away from God. Because of this garbage, Nick, you're no longer a child of God. You know what you are, my friend? You're a composite of bacterium conjured up by the cosmic soup mix. Come on, man. You're not a package of ramen cosmic noodles, brother. You're a divine child of God. Now let's go.
It's the birth of our moon.
Yeah, right.
But it's much closer than the moon today. Just 14,000 miles away, instead of 250,000 miles. The sun rises over a cooling Earth and sets just 3 hours later.
And they know how fast the Earth was spinning. Once again, how? Come on, man. When do we question? Seriously, righteous brothers and sisters out there, when do we question this narrative? When do we finally stand up and say, how do we know this? When do we force them to bring out all the manuscripts and the paperwork with their conclusion? Well, this is why. Because I'm telling you right now, this is pure fantasy. It's a pure imagination, but it's being built off as the gospel because it has science stamped on it. They're basically project onto us what they really intend to do with their make-believe.
The Earth is spinning so fast that an entire day lasts 6 hours. The days may pass quickly, but the Earth changes slowly.
Here goes
to understand the making of our planet, we need to fast forward through millions of years.
Millions of years. Millions of years. You know, I find it so odd that these scientists, archaeologists, paleontologists, they can tell you what a dinosaur ate 3 million years ago. Yeah, this dinosaur came through here, buck-billed, and he's sitting there chopping on this, chowing on that, but yet these clowns can't tell me what President Trump had for breakfast. I mean, I can tell you, brothers and sisters, 1,000,000 years ago, there was a velociraptor, and it was chowing on a triceratops, and blah, blah, blah. Well, Professor, what did I have for lunch 30 minutes ago? Well, I can't carbon date that. You know, and I know I'm getting carried away here, guys. I'm just being silly and flippant. Science has its place. Spirituality has its place. Even religious systems have their place. But none of us are going to find where we fit in if we don't have freedom. The earth is 6,000 years, apparently. I'm not even going to say that, Nick. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be truthful and sincere. I don't know, nor do I really give a fuck how old this planet is. I'm just being real. Hopefully that don't come as a shock to nobody. I don't give two fucks how old the earth is. Only thing I care about is how much pain and suffering do I and my people and my friends and my families and my loved ones have to endure while we're on this mudball. That's all I care about. The rest of it's all academic and it's all speculative. We have to seize our right, our freedom, before it's taken from us. You do realize we live in a society. As soon as the societal consciousness is at a point where if you're spiritual or religious, you're mentally ill, it's a wrap, dude. You know, they're fixing to make you guys all get shots for measles. What do you think it would happen when the world takes the Chinese model of how to deal with Islam or any other religious system the state deems unworthy? Keep on playing around with these atheists. Keep on playing around with these Satanists. Keep on playing around with the Luciferian, not realizing these guys outthink you for a reason. Because their minds and hearts are set upon conquering and dominating you, whether it be in the name of public health and safety or in the name of humanitarianism. Is that even a real word? Because I know a lot of atheists build themselves as being humanists or something to that effect. Let's get back to the show. I'm getting ahead of myself. Because we're only at fucking, what, 3 million years ago? 39. Damn. We're up in the billions.
3.9 billion years ago, a hail of meteors attacked the Earth.
And we know this hail of meteors attacked the Earth as if they're conscious. See how they give consciousness to meteor showers? But we know that this event took place how again? Because science should at least have the decency to make hymns. You know, look, hand clapping hymns. Science tells us so. The earth, it got beat down. Come on, man. The reason why I'm bringing this up, brothers and sisters, those of us in this chat room, we're already woke. We already know what's cracking. But there's so many young brothers and sisters, when you talk about what we talk about, their mind's going to go to this bullshit. And what we talk about don't sync up with this. That's where the disconnect's going to happen. Let's continue. The culling of the soul of the human.
It's debris left over from the solar system's formation.
Right.
Inside the meteors are crystals that look like grains of salt. And inside the crystals are minute droplets of water.
Oh, here we go. Jeez, here we go. Now, Brother Nick, I'm sure you can validate this next statement. We all know when any foreign astrological body enters the Earth's atmosphere, it's burnt up. For the most part. There's been a few that got through, exploded, hit, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, it just does not. Exactly, Bird. Where did the water crystals from? Where did the water from the crystals come from? Exactly. Well, you see, Bird, you probably don't understand because you don't have a PhD in molecular manipulation and oral buffoonery. But we'll try our best here at we're gonna fuck the religion right on out your mind and God out your soul university. So you see, in a distant part of the universe, there's a water mechanism that quantifies and obliterates. Come on, man. Whenever we ask the question, even with the Big Bang, okay, I get you. There was a bang. Everything in the whole universe. That's about as bad as saying you can fit, 19 angels on one head of a pin. But apparently you can put the whole universe on the head of a pin. But how would that even be possible, seeing how the pin is a part of the fucking universe? Wouldn't it have to be incorporated in there somehow as well? So technically, you couldn't have put this finite point on anything, because anything and everything that is anything would have been in the thing to begin with. But nobody wants to hear that. Now we go back to conjuring and mythical beings manifesting matter out of incantation spells because they're outside of the universe that they're dealing with. That's how most atheists describe God. as being a mythical, magical being that uses incantation spells to manifest matter in an otherwise empty space. And I had to say it, that's a really good, accurate, I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to believe in magic and all that. Okay, that's your right. You don't have to believe in it, even though you're participating in it. You really think all the life on this earth is just here for no reason? You really think that this is just the natural state of the universe? Because I asked you, how come we don't have an indoor moon like on Star Wars? How come we don't have no Ewoks up there on the moon? They're in the Goldilocks band to a certain degree. We don't, because the moon isn't what you believe it is, and this planet isn't what you believe it is. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to believe, folks. I just hope I share enough information to open up your mind so that you know. And then we can have true allies. We don't need sycophants. We don't need yes men and women. We need conscious, critically thinking individuals who realize their power is greatly amplified with other like-minded people. Let's continue the show.
These deadly missiles could contain the vital ingredient for life on Earth.
Correction. They had better contain the vital ingredient on Earth, because the bullshit you already told us, the fiery planet ain't having shit. Don't have no hope of water, no hope of amino acids forming in some sort of sacred pool. None of that. And this doesn't make sense because this rock was shattered and blast, but whatever. Nobody wants to tell us where the water from these rocks come from because it's irrelevant. As long as this does enough, Bird, to get you to stop believing in God, that's all that matters. Doesn't even change. Hold on. Did you see that? That thing went through the whole little CGI and never did even change shape or volume. This thing is so... I mean, whoever did the CGI, hopefully they didn't get paid a whole great deal of money. Because this is pretty sloppy shit.
Only a small amount of water exists inside each meteorite. But as they bombard the Earth for over 20 million years, pools of water grow.
And by the way, they already did test scientists to prove that this theory here is straight bullshit. Most honest scientists will still tell you they cannot account for why or where the water came from on this planet. But let's listen to the bullshit.
The Earth's core remains molten, but its surface...
Hold on. How did the Earth core get molten? Remember the little asteroids just pounding into each other? Yeah, they had that little fire, but hold on, let's go and revisit this. Let's go and revisit because it's very important. Now, where in the fuck is the molten bit out here? Because once they unite, see, look at that. Look at that, this explode. Yes, they will believe it, Bird. They do. They do, because God is relegated to Santa Claus. God didn't build this, Bird. God didn't inspire your parents to create you. No, none of that happened, man. This was all done by chance and accident, totally random, total chaos. Man, let's go. Look, this is why when I try to talk to people, man, they just don't get it. Because we got to go through all this.
These deadly missiles could contain the vital ingredient for life on Earth. Only a small amount of water exists inside each meteorite. But as they bombard the Earth for over 20 million years, pools of water grow. The Earth's core remains molten, but its surface has cooled enough to form a crust. The air is around 100.
Anybody care to answer how can the inside of a Tootsie Roll Pop be hot, but the outside be cold? I mean, all we saw in the formation was a bunch of quote-unquote meteors smashing together, okay? That in itself won't create what they're trying to suggest is at the center of the Earth, but okay. And then we get jizzed on by a billion million asteroids from God knows where with a bunch of water in them, and it pulls up. Man, this is almost like a cheap B-rate movie. They really expect people to believe this. I mean, yes, if you didn't have me asking these questions as we continue, I guess you could digest this rather easily. Yeah, makes sense to me. But if you ask yourself some very fundamental questions, simple questions, on something, you're going to get the big deuce egg. Let's continue. And by the way, this is what's being taught in your public schools.
70 degrees. In the future, there's a chance we could swallow this very water. Every sip, every puddle, every drop of water in every...
Dude, that sounded so nasty how he says that. You can guzzle down every... but that did sound very suggestive. I don't mean to be cracking myself up, but come on, man. We're buying this slop. The kids are buying this slop. Think about it, Bird. You have to test on this shit. Meaning, even if you don't agree with it, you have to be proficient enough in this bullshit to sit down at some table, some desk somewhere, and fill out the answers correctly. You know, come on, man. This ain't right.
Every ocean is billions of years old.
Yeah.
And it may have traveled millions of miles to...
Hey, has anyone stopped to consider where are the rest of all these asteroids raining down on the planet? How come, like, are we past the whole, like, asteroid storm bullshit everywhere? I mean, it would seem like if there's some part of space with all these swollen asteroids with liquid water, not liquid water, but water molecules in them, then there must be like an endless supply. Just like there's endless stars out there. But nobody wants to say nothing like that. Where did all the salt in the oceans come from? I don't want to go there, but I will. A space tour bus from planet Nairobi used to dump their porta potties on the Earth. That's where all the salt comes from.
To reach us, carried inside a meteor. The Earth looks more familiar, but it's still a dangerous place.
And I guess those spots on the moon ain't ever changed, huh? They've been the same way for millions of years, billions of years, whatever. Come on, man. This is fuckery. Why don't we say what this is? This fucking moon is a space station put over us to ensure the fucking wicked souls that are down here on this fucking mudball never ever leaves this bitch.
Winds are faster than the most destructive hurricanes today. It's a megastorm whipped up by the planet's rapid rotation. The moon is so close to Earth that its gravity is overwhelming, creating huge tides that race across the planet.
Whoa. Well, wouldn't there be some liquid water on the moon? Because don't forget, the moon's in the same space as the Earth. All those thousands and millions of asteroids, when a few couple 100 million couldn't have hit the moon? And shouldn't the moon have an ocean as well? Why would these magical asteroids miss the fucking moon and just nail the Earth? Oh, well, that's because true power. The moon is so cold. It's, on one side, it's extremely hot. The dark side's extremely cold. So on one side, that never rotates, by the way, that shit should be all flowing. That should be flowing like gravy. Fuck, why don't they just say all the water came from Mars? Before the Martians left their world, they sucked up all the water, brought it over here on Earth with the help of the folks from Nairobi.
Surface.
Yep, there are thousands of these whack ass videos, and the only thing that they all have in common is God does not exist. Just put that in your memory banks. With all this bullshit, just remember, God does not exist. That's what all these videos are trying to tell you. Now, that ain't by coincidence, folks. What's up, CJ? Welcome to the show, sister. And how did the fish and the insects and the coral reef appear? That they're all figments of your imagination, birds. Unless they came down on one of these magical meteorites, they simply just do not exist.
But over time, the moon moves away. The waves calm down.
And that's funny because there's other videos saying how the moon is gradually getting closer to us. Now, which is it? Is the moon going away or is it getting closer? See, this is what I'm talking about. When we take God out of the equation and we insert the wisdom and logic of man, when you start to analyze their theories, which it is, it starts rapidly falling apart.
And the planet spins slower. $700 million years after the planet's birth, life-giving water covers its surface.
That's kind of odd because not all life form, well, all life form on Earth needs water, of course. It's almost as if water's specifically tailored to this planet, or the life forms are specifically tailored to the usage of water. But what if that's not true for all the other entities out there in the universe? What about non-carbon life forms? Water could be deadly poisonous to them. So could air. You see, the problem with the whole whether the earth began and whether it was created or came about through this buffoonery, we got to ask yourself, and what is the end goal of bringing forth this information? Is the end goal to bring you closer to spirituality, closer to God, or is it to bring you farther from spirituality or God? Because the scientists will look you in the face. Or, well, let me say this. An atheist scientist will look you in the face and tell you, Sister CJ, your God is nothing more than an everly increasing or an everly decreasing pocket of ignorance. Meaning the more that we find out, the more we learn, the less relevant God is. And I'm telling everybody who believes that way, your chickens are going to come home to roost. All of them. Simultaneously.
And scattered throughout are tiny islands.
See, the way they can't even do this. And it's funny how this story basically kind of goes along with the creation story, whereas the whole of the earth was nothing but a dark void, blah blah blah, etc. etc. But they had to scramble it up, put some cheese in their scrambled eggs, don't they? Oh, but there's islands. It's not all covered in water. These people.
They seem to have appeared from nowhere. So how did they get here?
Let me guess. The meteorites brought them. Oh, here we go.
Molten rock bursts through the Earth's crust and rises up through the ocean.
Since then, it just doesn't make sense. How come there's no asteroids or meteorites we've found yet with a ball of fire in the middle of them, generating its own heat? It seems like everything else out there in outer space, when it gets in outer space, it cools off and becomes cold. This flows. This is a fucking chunk of. It could be the size of a mountain, but when it comes to the Earth, the processes, and I'm only using what we've seen on this film to justify this next statement. It's a complete 180 from what should be logical. I can see where all this dust particles is floating around, right? And some sort of gravity anomaly starts sucking it to itself. But then how does the Earth shift itself and make a pure iron nickel core spinning on its axis, generating our field, our so-called magnetic field? When the elders had said the Earth was flat and there's a firmament and there's a dome over it. And that could be true when you look at the shadow on the moon from the Earth. There's something that's definitely round. Definite.
Over time, the lava cools, forming a volcanic island.
Wait, why would this lava necessarily cool? I mean, fuck. Deep down in the Earth, it never cools. We all know, if you ever did any type of forging of metals before, if you have ever been around a forging furnace, the heat, Sister CJ, the heat coming off of it, oh my God, it's unbearable. And these are the forces that are at play right below our feet. But they don't give no explanation to how these forces could have that much fuel to burn for, 3 billion years? How's it getting the energy? Because last time I checked, it was just a bunch of rocks coming together. There wasn't no energy other than gravity at work. Maybe the kinetic energy of them smashing into each other, but something must be forcing them to stick. Yes, let's continue.
In the future, these islands will join together to form the first continents. Earth now has water and land. It's beginning to look like the planet we call home. But the atmosphere is still toxic, and the temperature is scorching.
No, brother, murder. There's not going to be a third late X-rated. I mean, this guy, I'm sorry, he sounds like a seedy B-rate porno narrator. I'm sorry, he just has that voice. That's all I'm hearing from this guy, because this is pure fantasy. This is pure speculation. But it's being built off as if it is the gospel. When God was doing, make it impossible to figure out. Look, If I hired you, Bird, as a secretary, you're a secretary in the office, and your job is to know everything about being a good secretary, right? Well, what business do you have running down there to the boiler room trying to figure out building engineering? Or what business would you have, running to bookkeeping other than pertaining to your secretarial duties, but running to bookkeeping, trying to rewrite all the bookkeeping protocols to make up your own system? In this life, yeah, we're the secretaries. And many of us aren't focusing in our jobs. No, we're running down trying to be a boiler person, running outside the building trying to be whatever, instead of being what we need to be. Now, if you want to believe in evolution, if you want to believe in creationism, that's all up to you. You're going to believe probably whatever resonates with you the best. But I want to be at least one of these guys out here that showed you what they're talking about, showed you what they're putting on our kids' heads, in their minds. And I'm trying to show you that, or just ask some questions. How do we know this to be true? And if it comes to a situation to where we can't, then we're not going to ever do it. Hello? Yeah, I'm doing a live show. Okay, well, I'll open up. How far are you out? Okay, I'll open up the door. Love you too. Hmm. Well, apparently, yeah, I'm going to have to cut this one short. It looks like I got 3 children who have been kind of bad. It is what it is. But hopefully, this is giving you all something to think about, contemplate. Oh, because I don't want you guys to hear the yeah, and the older cheer. Oh my God, this could be a mess. But it is what it is. It is Mother's Day. Thank you to all the mothers out there. We love you, Mom. We love you, Mama. We love you, Nana. We love you, Momo. Nothing but love. But I will post this link to this video that I kind of broke down on this show. Please, if you get time, take a look at it for yourself and ask yourself those questions. Today's date is May 12th, 2019, the year of our Lord. This has been TPIM SR Live. I'm your host, True Power is Mine. As always, live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed. And as always, brothers and sisters, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace.